Hey guys, welcome to another video. My name is Olivia. I'm a stay-at-home homeschooling mama. I've got a 10-year-old boy and a 6-year-old girl and another almost 4-month-old little girl. So in my last video, I did like a wrap-up end-of-year review update on some curriculum, and I was meaning to also do my daughter's, she just finished up her kindergarten year. And the video just got too long because I was doing some live chatting, update, that sort of thing. So if you're looking for wrap-ups for 4th grade and kind of like where I've been, what's going on, that sort of thing, go ahead and check out that video. I will link it down below. I really like these videos because as exciting as fresh curriculum and new curriculum for the upcoming year videos are, I really like being able to see what everyone thought about the curriculum they picked out and how it worked for them. These kind of videos are really helpful for me to watch, so hopefully this is helpful for you too. I'm going to jump into my daughter's work, and I'll touch a little bit on our like family subjects. I also touched a little bit on that in the last video, but let me jump into this one. So technically this is like a family subject. This is something that we did together, but this is my daughter's booklet. This is the Word of Life, like a personal devotional, and this is for the ages 4 to 6-year-old age group, and we really liked these for this age. They're like super short and sweet. They're also short and not long and super involved for the older kiddos too. I love it because for each week, the section that you're going through in the Bible is the same no matter what age group you're in, as long as you bought it within the same year. So I bought the years prior because it was cheaper to do that because we hadn't used this program before. So when I bought 2021s for this last school year, it was cheaper than buying 2022, 2023. And I will probably buy 2022, 2023s for this upcoming school year, but really like these. It was really good to do something super quick together as a family. In the morning, my kiddos also go to an Awana, a local like kids discipleship group, and there's like dozens of kids there once a week. So I do biblical things in the home because I don't want to leave discipleship up to everybody else to teach them. I want that to be something that's integrated into the home as well. And these are a good like way in the morning to make sure that we touch on them instead of like, the day gets away from you, and I want to make sure we're doing a little bit more than just like prayer at night. So I've been really liking these. Again, that was my first year of using that company, and I would use it again. So I purchased Explode the Code 1 and Explode the Code 2 for my daughter this year because I just wasn't sure how many she was going to get through. These are very, very, very popular in the homeschool world here on YouTube, and I've seen a lot of people using them on Instagram as well. I never used these with my son. I just wasn't aware of them when he was younger. It's kind of like a phonics, like a quick phonics lesson. I think it goes up through 8, like Explode the Code 8. I just don't think it would be worth it to buy it for my son at this point because he's pretty far past that. But what I love to do with these, besides them just like working really well and them being like short and sweet, is also this gives my daughter something that she can start doing independently on her own when I'm doing one-on-one work with my son. So that's kind of, we do handwriting, which I'll show you, and this either when I'm doing like a read aloud for our beauty subjects or when I'm doing one-on-one with my son. I'll tell her to do a couple pages of these. She can read the directions to herself at this point. She can read each one of these sentences to herself at this point. So I don't need to sit next to her to do these anymore. With Explode the Code, when we very first started on Explode the Code 1, I was helping her with it. So she's moved on and she can do these independently. I would buy those again, and I will also buy 3 and 4 for her. I purchased the Good and the Beautiful handwriting booklets for both of my kiddos for this latest school year, and my daughter flew through the kindergarten one, and she really loves it because, well, first of all, we had not started on print yet when I'm going to show you guys our phonics program that we use. It's like phonics and spelling and reading comprehension. So I had purchased that in cursive, and her cursive was beautiful, and the program works wonderfully. But when I started doing other first grade work and different first grade booklets or what have you, everything was asked of her in print. And so in her head, it made sense to reply in print. And I totally get that. So we took a pause on our cursive, and I then had to teach her from scratch print. Before she even learned her like ABCs, she was doing cursive. And so, yeah, so we got started on print. The Good and the Beautiful's kindergarten book is in print, and we moved pretty quickly through that. She loves the activities. They're really short. That was also something she would do during a one-on-one lesson with my son, or if I was doing a read aloud. She finished that halfway through the school year, and I saw the Dash into Handwriting through the Dash into Learning program, and they have a couple different handwriting books. I did see that they came out with a cursive one. So they have the like book face manuscript type handwriting, and then they also have the Demelian handwriting books. You can see how the ends it goes up at the end here. It doesn't just it's not like book face like straight up and down print like this. It is, they have you kind of swoop at the bottom, and this is something when I saw it, I was like, oh, that'll be a good transition since we were doing cursive and you usually do that at the end to connect to the next letter. And so she kind of has this mix of a little bit of like straight up and down print, like because of the Good and the Beautiful. This one curves a little bit. So we're just having fun with these. I would purchase this again. This is a lot more coloring. There are a couple activities. This is more just kind of like straight up coloring for the most part. My daughter really liked the activities though. So I will purchase the first grade one, even though it's a different kind of print than this from the Good and the Beautiful. We'll go through that one first, and then we'll move on to book 2 for this one. So I think for my younger kiddo, we are a 2 handwriting booklets a year sort of family right now. So we have 3 lessons left in our Foundations Level B from Logic of English. This is a Phonics program. I just made a whole video about this, and I did a follow along lesson with it as well. This has worked wonderfully for us. My daughter can read chapter books to herself. She just turned 6 at the end of March in her kindergarten year, and we're really, really loving it. What I said, the only thing that I would go back and do is, we would probably not do is start off with cursive again, just because other first grade work from other programs ask of you to reply in print, and I think that we would have been just fine waiting another year or 2 to do cursive. But while she was doing her cursive, it was immaculate. They teach you how to form your letters in here. They teach you to use the phonetic rules about how to pronounce each phonogram in spelling. And this also comes with booklets, and so it teaches you how to, it touches on reading comprehension. There's games that go along with each of the lessons. We started with it was like the mid-year of her like pre-K year, and we finished that within the first month or so of when we actually started her official kindergarten year. And so we've been doing this ever since. These lessons are pretty long, and I don't love her to sit at the table for a very long time. So I find that it's really easy to accommodate your family the way you need to. So I split this up into 2 days or 3 days. It doesn't make me feel like we're behind. I do what I feel like she can accomplish and what she can retain. And so maybe other people can fly through this. It's not because she doesn't get it or it's too challenging. It's just a lot of work, and I would love for her to go play or do puzzles or, do an activity or do art or something like that than do a lot of sit down time. But I think that this works beautifully. I don't know if we will move on to C, and not because I don't think it'll work or because it doesn't fit or anything like that. I just, obviously there's still tons to learn about spelling and reading comprehension. In general, her reading is fantastic. I just don't know, because it's such a big chunk of the day, if this next year, if we will go through with it. I'm gonna have to maybe find some like flip throughs of what level C is about for me to get a better idea on it, but highly recommend this with repurchase again. So The Good and the Beautiful this last summer was having a really big sale. I feel like it was like 50% off for stuff because they came out with their new, like they revamped their program, and I was like, oh, well, I've never used this program before. I've heard great things, and then there's people who like just don't like it and it doesn't work for them. And I was like, at 50% off, if she only gets through like a couple of pages, I feel like I will have had a good dive into if this program works for us or not, and I'm not out a whole lot. She really loved this program, and again, it was only the kindergarten level, and we did this, like there was weeks where we wouldn't do this because we would just be like trekking on through the Logic of English foundations during the day, and then there's other times when like, okay, I'm gonna take a break on the foundations, let's do a couple things for our language arts workbook. But this was a pretty comprehensive and approachable kindergarten language arts program. It moved on to nouns and verbs, there was readers, it touched on some art things. Obviously this is a Christ-based curriculum. There were mentions of Jesus and God in the language arts program. There was, I would say though, if we hadn't already been doing a phonics program, the reading portion of this might have been challenging to just jump in as a kindergartner without any phonetic awareness. It does come with flashcards, and it comes with like pronunciation lists and reading lists. It just doesn't teach phonics like deep enough for me to have said, or for me to at least recommend jumping into this without a separate phonics program. I'm not saying you need Logic of English, but just in general. It does tell you that, you know, this is how you pronounce short vowels, this is how you pronounce long vowels, and it does take you through those sorts of things. But I would think that this is actually kind of advanced and rigorous if you had, like I said, no phonetic awareness at the beginning of it. I don't really have anything negative to say about this. I think that it was actually like it was very colorful. It always kept her engaged. It was not writing heavy, which I think is really important for kindergarten. We do writing now at like the end of kindergarten, but it was really just like copying words that you already see. We were doing spelling in Logic. Speaking is not easy for me today. We were doing spelling in Logic of English. So she also was still getting, plus on top of her handwriting booklet, she was getting writing practice, but sitting down and writing full sentences is hard for a little 5-year-old hand. And it really was just kind of like a few words a day, which I appreciated. Now towards the end of kindergarten, developmentally, I think writing out some sentences is not bad. There was some memorization in here with some poems. And yeah, I thought that this was really sweet. There's a lot of, for the reading lists in the beginning, if you master the reading list, you get to check off the list and then you get to color something in like this full picture. That gave my daughter a lot of push. She really wanted to be able to fill in, like she wanted to be able to color that sheep. She wanted to be able to color those flowers. So she got really excited when she checked off the lists. Right now, we finished this weeks ago. Right now what we are doing is there's some like optional spelling words in the back, and we are just going through those. I don't believe in like a spelling curriculum for my kiddos at this point. I feel like exposure to lots of reading and then other programs for me so far is enough, but this is something that just kind of like she wants to be able to check off. We were going through it and I was like, oh, look what you did. We finished this. She was like, oh, what are those? I was like, oh, they're just like spelling words, like sight words. She's like, I can do those. I want to do those. So we've been getting through the spelling lists. I didn't mind this. I don't know if we will buy level 1. I haven't even looked technically into official first grade language arts programs yet. I just am not sure. So we're going to get through foundations, and we're getting through math, and we're getting through our other literacy program that we were doing. And I think maybe we just might take it a little slow in the summertime until I can figure out what I'm going to get. But I didn't see a problem with this. I really liked this. My daughter was really excited to do it, so yeah. So I shared that I was super excited about the kindergarten enrichment from Memoria Press. This is not their main curriculum. This is the enrichment curriculum. So I talked a lot about this in our new curriculum for the year video for kindergarten, first grade. I will list that down below. And it's been really great. The books in here are beautiful books. I love the choices. We did not do everything the guide says because we take care of some of these subjects with other curriculum, but it does have a read aloud book per week. There's some vocabulary and picture review and comprehension for all of the books. There's like a after you read section. There's sometimes a language lesson, like like it'll talk about, like it'll ask for, you know, what are some examples of some plural words on this page? So there is a little bit, but not enough for me to say like this is a full language arts program. For each week, there's also a history and culture option and a science option for another book, and the read aloud and the science and the history are always connected. There's also art, music, and poetry options. We do all of those through our Brighter Day Press, our morning time curriculum. I will link that video down below. I did a full review with it. So I didn't get to those, but I love the books. I love going through these. I think that it's been really fun and my daughter really enjoys them. All right, I'm gonna move on to math. First of all, during that 50% off sale The Good and the Beautiful was having, I also bought the math. I don't think the math was 50% off. I just bought the math because I was using Moving Beyond the Page for her pre-K year, and I really actually enjoyed that a lot for that level. I will put specifically what level that we used. I can't remember what the age range for it was. It was also a literature-based program, and it touched on math and it touched on reading and it had arts and crafts. I looked into the first grade for Moving Beyond the Page, and I was not super impressed with first grade. It just seemed kind of, I was not super enthused with it. So I don't think that we would purchase it for first grade, but I would definitely look back for second grade and up. I wanted her to have a little bit more math instruction as we were heading into kindergarten, and so I did purchase the math for The Good and the Beautiful, and we finished that program. It was their newer, updated one, and my daughter really loved it. At this age, it really is just kind of about exposure and building up the foundations of things that you're going to build on later, but it had a pretty good pace. I don't know if I would purchase it for later years. I knew we were going to get done with that math before the end of the school year, and so I went ahead and I watched some reviews for grade 1 math for my daughter. I settled on First Grade Math with Confidence by Kate Snow. I think they have through 3rd grade. I don't know if they have through 4th. I have really mixed reviews on this. So my first year that we homeschooled my kiddo, my oldest kiddo, we used Saxon Math, and then I found Singapore Primary Mathematics, the US edition, like the older school one, not the new one that's like the 2022 one that's come out, the older one. And when I started using that, it was almost like he couldn't even remember what he learned in Saxon Math. And I was like, okay, shoot. So we went back a step and we redid some stuff, and the mastery that you get through Singapore just connected amazingly with my son. And Saxon was a spiral program and it just didn't work, which is why I don't want to continue on with the spiral way of learning with the Good and the Beautiful for my daughter going on from first grade, kindergarten to first grade math. And this one said that it was a mastery program with like a spiral review approach, which I was like, okay, that's interesting that it's both. I don't know if I love this. I'll have to do a longer review on it. I really think that we're gonna go into Singapore for my daughter. It's just like there's so many pieces. I'm wholeheartedly on board with using manipulatives, totally. And this is just like manipulatives on steroids. And I love that it's scripted. And so far my daughter is doing okay with it. We have kind of hit like a stalemate with subtraction. And so I'm going to be getting some different, just like plug and chug sort of workbooks for that, but I don't feel confident moving on just yet until we have this done. So we are in week 14 of this, and it's almost like maybe it's just me, like the way I teach, and I'm having a hard time teaching it, so that's why. But it's scripted, so you'll be reading it, and then like you have to stop and pull out the things, and then set out the things, and then teach it with the things, and then put those things away and pull out new things and teach it with those new things. And I get what it's doing. It wants you to see, it wants the child to see the numbers written out. It wants the child to see the numbers conceptually with like counters or what have you. Be able to utilize different ways of finding an answer than just one way. And I think that you can do that in a different way than the way that this book lays out. I unfortunately am just not loving this. Which is too bad because I was really excited about this, and I'm gonna keep going right now until I can make that decision. But this is like a meh for me, unfortunately. And math is one of those things that I really want to stick, because I know how frustrating it can be when it's not like you don't understand math, like, or when you feel like you hate math and you like, because I'm bad at it, but it's really sometimes a program switch up can make a world of difference. So I'm going to move on from this one. I'm pretty sure. I don't even know if we're going to finish it. It's just like, it doesn't flow, and I have to stop so many times to pull things out and then rearrange things, and I'll be like, hide these numbers from your kids, so that, but I'm like, she just saw me pull them out, and then when I have to stop and pull these things out, she's just waiting, and it's dead time. And this is with me prepping at the beginning of the lesson. What are the materials I'm going to need? They're all right in front of me. But because there's so much moving around, there's a lot of like sit and wait, and then like the flow is off. So yeah, I'm going to move on from this one. For geography, this is what we've been doing as a family, but this is what checks off my box, along with the Memoria Press Enrichment curriculum, which I would repurchase, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I can't show you the front because that's my kiddos' names written out to them. But we've been using letters from Afar, and we've been doing this for a few years, and these are so fun. It's a subscription-based program. Every month you get a letter in the mail by a fictional character named Isabel, and she travels to a new country, and she writes a letter about things that she saw and she experienced there. And these are so fun for my kids. My son does this as part of like a read aloud with at the table with the family, and she was including some vintage stamps with each letter for a really long time, but it was hard for her to get the creator to get her hands on as many stamps as she needed nowadays. And so you get these field notes included with each one. I'm sure you guys have seen these. It's really popular. But this is what I do with my daughter, and then she knows a ton about wherever we learned about, and I have her pointed out on a map for me, and then we watch some videos, not from this program, but we just look up videos. If they mentioned an animal that's native to the region, then we look up the animal. If there's food, we talk about the food and, you know, what kind of cuisine is there, that sort of thing. So this is like, I don't think that geography needs to be that heavy in kindergarten or first grade. And so this keeps it fun, but you still learn something new. And we've really been enjoying doing this as a family. And this is one of the other ways, along with the literature program. So I also have a full review on Treehouse Schoolhouse nature study, and I don't want to pull all that stuff out, but we are still loving those. We've been extending the weeks. Last year we really like kept on schedule, like every topic for each of the weeks for each of the seasons. We went through really quickly last year, and we're taking our time with it this year. I'm pulling different books from the library this year, and it's like such a beautiful program, and I would still highly recommend it. And that's so fun. That also could be a way of checking off science for like lower elementary age school kids. For the most part, her kindergarten year was so much fun and a success, and it was really what I was hoping it would be. Oh, let me get her art curriculum. All right, this is the Book of Crafts Kindergarten. This goes along with the read alouds for the Memoria Press Enrichment program. And each week for each one of the books is a coordinating art project. I was so excited for this because I've explained in like every video I talk about art. Art is just not my thing. It stresses me out. There's like a mess. There's a lot of open-ended stuff. I don't like how there's, I don't know, for some reason art is not my thing, and that kills me a little bit inside for my kiddos, especially for these age kiddos, where that's probably like one of the most exciting things they can do with their day. And I've been having to teach myself to get out of that and try to help incorporate it more. And this is like step by step and a cool way to incorporate art in a structured way so that I'm not just coming up with something, and it's a good way to also continue on a lesson that we learned from the books. Some of these are hits and some of them are like, that was a little lame, but that's okay. Like, I don't think, like, kiddos don't really care. They just want to do something crafty. But a lot of them were hits. My only complaint is that the example pictures are in black and white. And I'm like, Memoria Press, you guys are a very big company. You guys have lots of funding. Your things are not cheap. I think you could have printed this in color and it would have been a little more helpful and a little more exciting, a little bit more insightful of like exactly what we were trying to accomplish. But it was fine. So anyway, these are great. I would probably repurchase the Enrichment collection from Memoria Press again for first grade. I have not looked into it yet. I'm not really looking into first grade stuff slash second grade stuff because she's moving, like she can easily read at like a third grade level at this point, but I don't want to skip around and move right up to that kind of thing and miss out on the like fun parts of first and second grade curriculum. So that's why I still say she's a kindergartner, even though she's doing a bunch of first grade work and she can read at like a third grade level. And that's why I keep trying to pull in the fun things. And then when we just read together as a family at night, we read from things that are, you know, just challenging enough for her that she is still being exposed to, that she still has enough to learn from. So yes, this is the wrap up for my daughter's kindergarten year. And hopefully you guys got some good insight from the things I shared. I can't wait to get my hands on some new curriculum, even though we are going to have to wait. So that will be exciting to share that when I can figure that out. So anyway, if you guys have any comments or questions about anything that I mentioned today, please feel free to leave that down below. And thanks so much for joining me for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.